Yeah, awesome. Hi
We'll be
everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone. Nubi here. We'll give a couple of minutes for folks to just join, and then we'll kick off shortly after. But thanks for tuning in and joining us on the return of our monthly AMA sessions. So yeah, we'll just give it a minute or two for folks to join, and then we'll kick things off. We're recording as well, um, so people can also play back afterwards. All right. I think this is where we can insert Afro beats or something, but we'll see. Feedback for our next session.
Dami, where are you dialing in from?
Currently Houston.
Okay, because I saw you were traveling, so I was
Yes,
curious.
yes. I'm taking care of a friend who's going through some medical treatment.
Okay, thank you for making the time.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Great to see familiar faces as well on the call. I see Dozier. Um, Great to have you join us. Um, Dario as well. Good to see you join us as well. Toby, one of our day ones. Yeah, great to see you on the call as well. Awesome. So just jump into it. So yeah, we're recording, so that's great. Thanks everyone for tuning in for our June AMA sessions. It's been a while we've done this, but we just again seeing how this has been valuable in the past. We just thought again to commit to doing this every month. For the rest of the year, we'll have to skip December because again, the last Thursday of December, I'm very sure you would rather just be doing something else than stay in front of a Zoom call. But between now and then, for every month, so June, July, August, September, October, and November, we'll be sure to be keeping this the last Thursday of every month. We'll bring in a guest to just come share with us, and then we also again give chance for new members of the community or even existing members of the community to just ask any questions, as well as we share updates as to how things are going. So yeah, I'll just move on to the next slide. Um, so yeah, so just a run through what the agenda is going to look like. It's going to be like 60 minutes. So we're going to open for the first five, and then we'll go dash straight into the Q&A session with Dami Thompson. And then I'll switch on to Joe to share some updates as to what's been happening with HoaQ. And then we'll open the floor to any questions, whether regarding the content that we've gone through with Dami or also just all things HoaQ related. And then we'll close off. So just as a reminder, especially for those who joined us since the last time we had any public events or anything that we've shared, HoaQ is a club. HoaQ Club is a community of creators and operators backing entrepreneurs in building scalable businesses for Africa and its diaspora. And our mission exactly is just see how we can best support founders while leveraging technology to build economic infrastructures for for Africa and Africans. So simply put, some people are very bold and courageous to decide to build life transforming ventures. I want to be there to back them as early as possible, leveraging capital, but also the network of operators that make up this community. Yeah, next slide. And then just double clicking on that, we operate by a couple of principles. So we want to deploy capital in industries and sectors that we understand. So we try to again learn. We're open to learning even of new and trendy technologies and all, but we always want to make sure we actually understand or come to an understanding of those opportunities. We want to back ambitious and resilient founders. Ambition is one thing. Of course, you can always like shoot for the moon, but again, resilience is also very important as well. And we can tell from the climate we're in right now, capital efficiency, and other buzzwords being thrown around. We have just been able to stay alive, and stay kicking and generating revenue from customers, and just finding a way of actually nailing and staying on that elusive product market fit. I think is very, very key, and we'll continue to back such founders. I want to also leverage the community that we have built, and again, we're privileged to be custodians of, to support these founders. So we have people from diverse backgrounds, whether it's finance, legal, technology, yeah, and just again see how we can just pull all that expertise, knowledge, and just connections to see how we can actually best support founders. Can we go back this slide? And then yeah, we want to back again like visionary entrepreneurs, and then we looking at the target again a large enough market opportunity. So potential size of about $1 billion in an opportunity that we actually invest in, or we look to back. And so with that, we come to our session of today with Dami Thompson. Next slide, please. So just a bit of background into Dami. Next slide, please. Yeah, so Dami Thompson, she's a founder of Due Diligence Africa, and I think I like the name because you don't have to like think too much as to what they do, and it also speaks to the topic that for why we're actually gathered here today. So Due Diligence Africa is a organization that she founded, an investment advisory firm. She also has investment experience as well, so it's good to know how to. I mean, it's wanting to teach, but also another to have experience in what you're teaching. So she's actually worked at Echo VC, one of the prominent like local VCs in Africa, and also she's a founding member of Yellowwood Capital as well. She has about 14 years of experience when the investor, entrepreneur, and operator at. She's offered advisory to startups, including fractional CFO, that's the Chief Financial Officer, accounting, governance, and compliance services. She's actually like, again, walked the talk by actually investing in over 25 startups across Africa, the US, and other emerging markets. And she's an alumnus of the University of California, Berkeley. And so with that, we'll jump into the Q&A. So just again, move to the next slide, and then perhaps even like put the slides down so we can see each other's faces. And once I switch up to Joe, we can bring up the slides again. So we can just stop sharing the screen and just go into the conversation. Thank you. Awesome. And I'll just say, please, if you have questions during the conversation as well, please note them down. You can either use the chat session, or when we actually open the floor to questions, you could just again use the raise hand feature as well. I'll be sure to call you to ask your question live. So again, you can use the chat session, the chat feature, or the raise the hand feature to ask questions. So hi, Dami, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me. And hi, everyone.
Yeah, awesome. So let's just assume that we have no clue what due diligence is. So can you just talk to us about yourself, maybe just briefly about yourself, what you do, and how you came about forming Due Diligence Africa?
Sure. So started out my career as a lawyer in a law firm in Nigeria. And I think that at that point, this was like really early in the days where there was no venture capital. It was just a couple of high net worth individuals who were giving, say, I'm giving you money, I'm going to own, a huge part of your business. And that was the trend then. But we will constantly have founders and entrepreneurs come to us at the firm saying, you know what, I'm looking for money. Can you introduce me to your clients? And so we were doing that, but we realized that it wasn't sustainable because a lot of them, generally wanted a huge chunk of the business. And I think just that frustration of trying to find a solution for them was what drove me to learn more about, I'm sure like Nigeria is not the only country experiencing the death of funding in building. There must be something out there that someone is doing. And I think it was in that process that I stumbled upon a Forbes magazine, and on the front page was a couple of two founders, US based, who had raised venture financing. And so that was kind of my light bulb moment on, okay, you know what, there's a solution out there, somebody must be doing something. Thankfully, fast forward to a couple of months after that, Egusa used to work at Intel. So Egusa is a managing partner at EcoVC. And he and his partner had come to Nigeria to set up a VC firm. So it was one of the first VC firms in Nigeria. So we were acting as a legal counsel. After we did a couple of deals with them, I realized that I actually wanted to work with entrepreneurs. I think that when you're working as a lawyer, it's very transactional. You do the legal agreements, you interact with the founders, and you hands off once the transaction is done. But I realized that I had a passion to want to help them build and advise and support them. So I started speaking to Egusa, and his managing partner about what is the typical way for a lawyer to work in a VC firm. Thankfully, Egusa has a similar background, so he also used to be a lawyer, and then he kind of got into tech, and then set up the fund. So he told me that the typical ways you work with a startup, and then you learn by just building with them. You understand all the ropes, and that helps you to understand the pain of the founder. And so he was going to say they were going to second me to hotels.ng, which many of you might know. But it ended up being that they said, why don't you just come and work with us? And you just learn by osmosis. So if this is really what you want to do, you just learn by being in the company and you absorb all the knowledge. So I'm going to fast forward the journey because it's very long. But ended up, so started out as in-house counsel, ended up leading deals at EcoVC. The last deal, so I led 7 deals at EcoVC, and most of the deals that we led were like, it wasn't just your typical Steve, it was also equity rounds that I led. So I think that gave me a lot of, I would say, confidence and boldness to understand what it takes to be a great investor. Obviously, you make mistakes, you learn from it, and I think that helps with having a very supportive team who understand that you might make some mistakes, but you also learn from it. But I ended up leaving EcoVC because I realized that I did want to have a balance of being an operator and being an investor. And the general way that you do that is that you go and work with a startup. So the last deal that I led at EcoVC was a $35 million round. And it was for an Amazon for used cars. So the company was based in the US. They had Canadian it was based in Canada. They had US operations, and were looking for Africa expansion. And so we co-led that deal, but I led the deal internally at EcoVC. So I ended up working with them for 2 years. But I think I realized that even though it was a great opportunity, I realized that there were a lot of governance issues that as a company we had. There was a space in the company where we had run through about 4 CFOs in 6 months. And for me, I was like, that is not ordinary. There's something going on. I think in my attempt to try to solve it, because at that time you're working as also an investor, because then you'd ask more people to put money inside, when the hat of an investor, but also when the hat of an operator. But realize that, the CEO, I probably shouldn't say that, but some people within the company, just were not happy about how, certain things were being done. So I ended up leaving because I felt like there was a lot of friction, and it was just best for me to leave. So left the company, and I realized that it wasn't just, the company wasn't just something that happened specifically with that company. My experience there was, they'd hired me to help them expand to Africa. I ended up doing that, across emerging markets. So we had set up operations, in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, UAE, Japan, and Mexico. And honestly, great experience. Loved the business. And it was, like money generating. Cars always sells, and that's a good thing about it. You almost cannot lose money, when you're selling, especially used cars in emerging markets. So I think that experience gave me a lot of insights into building, but also made me understand that when we give money as investors to founders, we generally as investors don't give them the right support structure to help them build. And I think that was what this company was lacking, where they had all the money that they need, but there were certain structures that they needed that just wasn't there. And the CEO, he's above 40. It takes, with those kind of people, they they don't generally listen to other people because they feel like they're older, and they just they rather do things their own way. So, but I think that when I left, I realized that I started seeing a lot. Obviously, like Theranos had happened then, FTX had happened then, but I think that when you have that kind of experience, you just begin to notice this kind of things everywhere. And I think that that's what happened to me, where every day there was a story about a founder who falsified user data. There was a story about a founder who lied about how many customers he had. There was a story about a founder who had used investor money for personal purposes, and how that had affected the business and also affected the employees because they didn't have to lay off people. So I think all of that for me was the general transition then was, you work as an investor, you work as an operator, but you also then set up a fund. But I decided that, this is it's a bear market. Investors are generally very slow with investing now. I think there needs to be some restructuring in the ecosystem, and that's why I set up Diligence Africa, because I felt like needs to be there needs to be a reset of what are the key principles that founders need to know and understand as they're building. When you raise money from people, you are accountable to them. You need to have, you need to be knowledgeable about, what kind of governance process do I need to put in my business, and you need to build an ethical business, and you also need to be ethical as a founder. So I think that for me was I needed to do some, and I like to fix things. I don't know if I can do it, because I feel like every day, the problem just like opens up and it becomes even more and more. But I think that when you engage with the right people with the right intention, there will be some change. So a lot of what I've been doing is I'm speaking to angel investors, because I think that it starts from from the ground. I think that as you're building, there's so many things that you can do to bring people's mind and bring people's attention, or create awareness around governance and diligence and processes. But you cannot start speaking to them in Series A, because it's like especially when they've raised Series A, it would take a lot of humility for a founder to say, I understand there's so many things going wrong in my company, and I'm willing to fix it. If the board also is, is in some way collaborating with the founder. So realize that sometimes the board is enabling the founder to just do what he wants. Unfortunately, and that really is what happens. If the board is enabling the founder to just say, run the business the way you want, but other shareholders are like, we need to do something about it, then there's really not much that you can do. So I think for me is there needs to be a lot of training and education, which is a lot of what I'm doing right now. Even with this and with other, kind of sessions that I'm holding, is we're training founders, helping them to understand that when you have this kind of structures in your company, you are more valuable to an investor, because they know that you don't just have those principles as personally, but you're also inculcating it into your process, and it's showing up, in your books, it's showing up in your diligence process, it's showing up, in the way you handle your finances. So that was, kind of the short to my journey.
Awesome. When we actually caught up the last time we spoke, I did say like this is actually like quite fundamental to, again, a maturing ecosystem, because yes, we might have used the excuse of like, oh, we're a young ecosystem in Africa compared to, like, say, the West or Europe, but as a maturing ecosystem, like, again, governance and due diligence, all those things become like, you just have to, you can't just keep making excuses for not having those things in place anymore. And I'm like, it's a labor of love, if you will, taking this upon yourself to say, okay, do you know what, let me go do that hard work of, like, again, educating and on both the founder, but also, again, a group like ours as well, just again on the importance of this, but also just how to go about it. I think also, like, there's a big issue of, like, okay, yes, we know we need to do due diligence, but, like, what does that look like? What does good look like? How do I go about it? And hopefully we can have some of those questions answered on the call today. I know we can answer everything, every comprehensive, but at least just getting a teaser, and perhaps you could even, like, share some references or resources people could actually access for further reading or further research. So let's just start with just perhaps, again, common mistakes or common missteps that you've seen in your time when it comes to actually just due diligence, and then perhaps taking it from the investor side here now, perhaps mistakes you've made or you've seen others have made as well before actually like writing a check. I know you founded Yellowwood Capital, so you also have the lens of like angel checks, not just again your large VC check that you have at the Echo VC. So I know the risks also are very, very different. Of course, you don't want to be asking a early stage founder for like 35 pages of business plan as well, but at least some level of diligence is still required even at the angel stage of investing or early stage investing. So can you just share with just back from experience or from just research or knowledge, what are those common missteps that angel investors make when it comes to like due diligence?
Yeah. So I'd say that when you, as an angel investor, I think that there's a limit to how many documents you can ask for. There's a limit to how much information you can ask for, because if there's a founder that is, experience, maybe like a 2x founder has exited, it's like, you know what, I'm happy to give you my money, I don't even want to know anything, right? So they're different, there are different scenarios like that. But I think that when you do have the opportunity to ask those questions, I think that some of the mistakes that people make is number one, ignoring patterns. So for example, you have reached out to this founder, they have not been very responsive, they have not been very communicative, they have not, the kind of responses that they would give you are naturally caught, very and not well thought through sometimes. And I feel like so as an angel investor, you're not just betting on the business, you're betting on the founder. That really is it, because at the angel stage, so many things can go wrong. The founder can decide, you know what, this particular business that I was building, I think that I'm going to put it aside because maybe the opportunity is no longer as huge, or just like the market is not as receptive, and then it changes the model. So at that point, you're betting on the founder and you're saying, I believe in your ability to execute, I believe in your ability to lead and to build a sustainable business. I believe that, even if anything happened, you would carry us along as investors. And so you're looking out for, the way that he's handled, the way he's managed the relationship with you as an angel syndicate, the way he's managed relationship with his employees, if you can find out. I always say that sometimes the best angel investment diligence is just online. Just go online, look for any adverse media, look for, go to the if it's an app, you go to like Google Play Store, go through the reviews. Are they even responding to the comments that people put on, on the reviews on the Google Play Store? I know Apple doesn't have like, doesn't give the reviews, but Google does that. And so there's so many things that you can get from just doing a background check on the product, on the founder. And I think that when you don't do those things, you do yourself a disjustice. I also think that as an angel investor, the baseline is, why are you investing? I think having a set of values for the reason why you're angel investing is great. It should not just be that I have money, maybe one of these things would make, would pan out to be $1 billion and I make a lot of money. I think that there needs to be an intentional act on your side as an angel investor to say, why am I making this investment? Because that then feeds into the kind of companies that you support. If you're the kind of investor who Kelom is making, yeah, absolutely, I agree with you, Kike. So I think that the kind of companies or founders that you would attract are the kind of companies that you generally know that even if it was your business, you will put money in. And so I always advise, have a set of 7 to 10, maybe even 5 set of values that you stick to as an angel investor, and say, if I don't find these things in this company or in this founder, then I'm not going to invest. Because then a lot of VCs also not necessarily diligence, discipline is what I wanted to say, is discipline. The ability to see a deal and be like, I don't know if this deal is going to, everybody's excited about it, but I'm not just, there's something there. Discipline yourself to say no is part of, the things about being a great angel investor. I think that a lot of people, one of the mistakes that people make is FOMO. Everybody's investing, it's very exciting. Oh, you should put your money, and then everybody does that, and then the deal goes off, and that happens a lot in the Nigerian ecosystem, where A lot of people get excited about deals, but I think that when you've done a lot of deals and you've seen so many things, you're just like, nah, I'll see this one out.
So this one out,
Because,
yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
one thing at Echo VC, we always used to say something, and some of the deals we did miss, some deals, because I think we felt that people were too excited about it. And so we just said, you know what, we'll sit this one out. And it ended up that, some of those deals were huge. And it also ended up that some of those deals were
Went
not,
to
because it just fell apart. But the ability to discipline yourself to say, you know what, there's always another deal.
Yeah,
There's going
you learn from that
there's
data
always
point.
going to be, I think that when you have the mindset of there's always another deal,
Yeah,
you restrain yourself to actually look intently at the deal,
yeah,
look through your values, cross-check that amongst, with the investment memo that the HoaQ team has sent, and then decide on whether or not you want to invest.
yeah.
And I think that those are the things that you would generally do, and you would generally like to see. And I think also just like training yourself to be a better angel investor by even conducting your own diligence outside what is provided by the HoaQ team. Because then you get to see so many things, you get to understand the opportunity for yourself, download the app, use the product, because that then gives you you put yourself in the seat of a user, and then you understand why someone will use this product, and you understand the opportunity, understand why somebody will pay, if it's like $5, understand why someone will pay $5. Would you pay $5 for it? If you're not going to pay $5 for it, then why would you invest in it? So I feel like if you don't intentionally go through those steps of being, I want to be a better angel investor, I want to be a better investor, and intentionally walking through the different, kind of step by step as a user, there's so many things that you would lose, and you probably also would not understand, angel investing.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. And that we'll come to that question. I think just two things I want to just quickly say was that on having your own thesis, that's very important. In fact, our last AMA was with Andy Ayim from the Angel Investing School, and it would give us like again resources and just the step like how to actually write your thesis and sharpen that thesis. And the more you do that, again, you come like it helps you with your diligence. It helps you to even though that's that quick filter of like, do you know what? Yes, no, like
Exactly.
and even like you said, if you miss out on it, if you say no to a deal and it becomes massive, you learn from that data and
You
say,
learn
"Oh,
from it,
what did I miss and how do I not make that mistake next time?" Plus, again, we've seen a trend where people are actually ready to even pay a premium for that deal at the later stage. So I miss it at Angels, I'll enter at pre-seed. I miss it at pre-seed, I'll enter at seed.
Yes.
And there's still a way to go with this deal. Also, Joe actually like host Joe and you and they host like monthly deal reviews, which I also like recommend people to actually join. This is actually a good way to actually go out. Like, how do you actually like on hands do like due diligence? Like, how do we ask the question? How do we tear down a deal, a deck, and a memoir, and just again try to find the conviction or try to like again build conviction or validate conviction, whatever it is. So I would recommend people to actually look out for the next one. It happens on a monthly basis. So do check out for that. Just two questions that we'll take here. The first one is from Dami. What weight would you put on due diligence report services? So again, it's actually perhaps like outsourcing, I suppose. And what challenges do you think a service like that would have on an African market where there are no readily available quality information? So I think the question is again, what weight would you put on either outsourcing due diligence to like a third party service, and how much of a how would you rate such service in our local ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of weight and even not just outsourcing, I think due diligence in general carries a lot of weight, because there's so many things that when you're looking at a deal, you look at the deck, you look at some of the documents, there's so many things that you would not see, because then you're not. Now let me actually take a step back and say, when you're looking through when you're conducting due diligence, you're looking at the legal structure. Now we're doing a deal, working with another angel group for due diligence. And so what we do is they send us the data room, we review the data room, and then we provide them with the due diligence report. But we realize that some of the entities are held by the founders as opposed to held by the parent company. Now the challenge with that is that if and when the business grows big, if that continues to remain a thing, every revenue that comes in from that business goes to the founder and doesn't go to the parent entity. But you wouldn't find that in, just like reviewing
Yeah.
the documents. You typically you generally will have to like go to CAC or go to the Kenyan corporate registry or go to the US corporate registry to find out, like the different states, to find out exactly what the legal structure is. Same thing with, the financials. When you're looking at the financial, you're not just looking at revenue, you're looking at the patterns, like how do they spend money, what are they spending money on. One of the things that we realized, and one of the due diligence that we did, was that the founders had accounted an investment as income, as revenue, and that means that their revenue significantly went up, but it was an investment that came in, and so we asked them to restate it, and then that showed, really showed the true revenue of the business. So those are the things that I feel like the due diligence points out. I think that due diligence is absolutely critical. I think that you cannot just decide, well, they just said it was a misclassification, so
Creative accounting.
yeah, exactly. So I think that those are the things where you're like, due diligence is absolutely critical, because there's so many things that you would not see if you don't conduct due diligence. And I think that as an investor, I've come to realize, like, being an investor, being an operator, being an angel investor, and now doing due diligence, due diligence Africa, I realized that as an investor, there are so many things that you might not see, because being an investor doesn't make you the best due diligence expert. In fact, you're probably not. And I know that a lot of investors don't like to hear this, but investors are generally have a finance background. So if they looked at the financials, they will really know, but you are not a legal person. And so they will generally outsource that to, the lawyers. The finance bits, they can handle some of that. Well, maybe most of it. But there's IP, there's licensing, there's online, experience. So at Diligence Africa, we also do founder reputation diligence. We do financial investigative diligence. So we're not looking at just the information that is in the data room. We're looking at everything that is out there, online, offline, depending on the stage also. If it's an angel investment, I think that maybe there's a limit to how much you can, how much diligence effort you can do. But I like to be very thorough with whatever I'm doing, whether it's angel investment or whether it's, or Series A deal or C deal. I would do honestly the same amount of diligence that I would generally do, because I like to, just make sure I cover all my bases. And yeah, and I think I'm doing that now because I have all these experiences of saying, what, if I want to be a better investor, I need to make sure that I've crossed, and dotted all my checks, and dotted all my I's, whatever. Anyways, you guys know that. So
yeah. I think, I mean, you're definitely right on that. I don't think there's any such thing as over diligence when it comes to investing. I know, like, again, there was a degree of diligence, or like the emotions might differ, but again, if it's your cash, your interests, I think, again, and it doesn't have to be overly complicated. Like you said, even small things like downloading the app, just play around with the app. Does it work? Does it do what it's meant to? Does it do what it says it's going to do? Like, again, if someone is claiming a number of downloads on their deck, go check the Play Store. Exactly. They have those number of downloads there. And if the math is not matching, ask the question, why is it different? If it says we have 10,000 1 million downloads, users, and the App Store says 10,000, they're like, where's the remaining? Where are the remaining people? So I think those little things. I think we just like pass angel. And you're right. I think angels were also over trusting, because we are somewhat emotionally like invested as well, to the person, and so I think, again, just asking those against like obvious questions. I think also integrity also matters at the early stage. So who is this person? Again, you're betting on the person than the idea now. Like, who is this person? What do their friends say about them? What do their previous colleagues say about them? What their employees, their teammates say about them? If they're a second startup, like, so just again ask. I think the ecosystem is quite small that you can get one or two degree of separation from every other person. So I think, again, just asking those questions is quite key.
To that point, I've realized that, and this mostly happens with foreign investors that are looking to invest, in African founders. The only DD that they do is call a friend. And I think that is not DD. In fact, I have an article about it. I'm going to post it out soon. Calling a friend, an African VC to find out about a founder is not DD. It's signal, that, oh, they've heard about them, and maybe they're doing something right. But it's not enough to justify giving 5 million to a founder. One thing that I always say is that sometimes, like, as investors, we put, and maybe not at the seed stage, this is more like seed, series A, we put founders in boxes that they struggle to fill. Many of the founders that we genuinely have worked with, who grew up on the continent, don't have the amount of money that some investors have. And so you put them in this box, you surround them with so much cash that they think that they'll always be, in 6 months they'll start fundraising, and so they just feel like they can do whatever they want with the money that they have, right? Because in 6 months, they'll raise more money. Nobody will care about the $500,000 that has gone out of the account. But what has happened is that the reason why there are a lot more stories about startup failures is that we'll raise in 6 months never happens, because then people stopped investing, investors stopped giving money, and then it came to light that these people had actually spent money on houses, cars, weddings, like so many things, trips, and that then made them start laying off employees, and that it's literally a rabbit hole where you lay off employees. That affects the number of unemployed people on the continent now. That is consistently going because you have made bad decisions as a founder. So those are the things that why I say, like, it's important to, number one, provide with training, but also have the right governance in place, but also support founders.
So I wish we had so much time, but I know we're almost over time, almost there. But I think I'll have to add like just two like closing questions. And the first will just be like, again, perhaps what would you recommend, say again, and someone on this call or someone that would actually watch this later, they're starting their angel investing journey, or just at the early stages of this, writing again 1K check, 2K check, 5K checks into startups. Like what we just recommend as, like, again, the ABC, or like the 1, 2, 3 steps that at least, okay, if you don't do anything, just do these 3 things, or these 2 things, to just make sure you've done some diligence on the deals you back.
Yes. So I would say generally, put money that you can afford to lose, because if you put a lot of money in one deal, you would be upset if that deal doesn't happen, and you'd be like, man, this angel investing is not for the faint-hearted. So put money that you can afford to lose in every deal, because I also think that there's an intentional way where you can spread your risk across different opportunities. I would say that if you don't understand, second is, if you don't understand an opportunity, if you don't understand the space, either do not invest or do your own research to know enough and then decide. Don't go at it based on FOMO, because it might not always work out, right? Thirdly would be, have a set of, like you said, investment thesis, values. Yes, absolutely, you can. Investment thesis, values. I would say, like, have your own principles as an investor on the kind of opportunities that you want to invest in, and let that guide you. But also, and then just fourth and last thing is, do your own research. Do your own research to understand the space, to understand the founder. Do your own research to learn more, because some of you might be builders, some of you might be investors, and you might eventually even also raise. It helps you understand the role of a founder and how they're building, and some of the things that even you might end up doing. So I would say those would be kind of the 4 top priorities. And then also, if you don't know enough, speak to someone who does, ask for information.
Do your research. So I mean, that's so spot on. Like, again, invest what you can afford to lose, so spread your risk, definitely. And that's why we always bring in a bunch of deals to HoaQ members. We like, because we want to just have a variety of spaces, whether it's ed tech, fintech, health tech. So whatever backgrounds you have, or exposure to. So do your invest what you can afford to lose. Do your research. That's very important as well. Just again, ask questions. learn. If you don't, you don't have to be an expert in everything, but you can just again having an understanding. I think I always like when I come away from calls with founders, and I'm like, I've just learned something new. I've just developed some understanding of a space and industry that I might not get exposure to, and or I'm no expert in. So I think I think great founders are people who can also like again convey knowledge or understand or help you better understand what they're building or what spaces they are actually like building ventures. And the last question I will have before we close things out. Oh, let me see. I mean, what do you think about community on this platform? Okay, I guess we'll keep that to the end. Because I really, um, would okay. I guess you can take this now actually. So yeah, so we have multiple platforms, get equity with
Yeah.
funders and all that bring deals and all. So the question is like, should angel investors still need to do additional DDs in addition to what I mean, or can you just like well, this has been DD already for them for it to be on this platform. I'm just going to just put my money and move on.
Yeah, so again, it depends. It depends on, I don't know, like with get equity, I don't know if the investors or if the angel leads do the diligence before they put the deals onto the platform. So that's something that you need to find out. So maybe only restrict your investing to deals that where the lead syndicate has put together a diligence report and has an investment memo that you can review.
I guess reviewing the memo in itself is your DD, is your own DD as
It's,
well because
well,
like you have to review the memo and then also like make a decision. Because I guess would you just like put money to without even reviewing the memo at all?
no, so there's a diligence report and then there's a memo.
Okay. Oh right,
Both,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
like all of them are separate because the investment memo is a kind of call to action in a sense.
Informational. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. It's more informational. The diligence is research.
Right.
So they're generally two different things. But in my opinion, I would assume that when you put together a lead, a syndicate deal, you already have both. But again, I'm not quite sure. But I would say if you don't, and if you think it's an interesting deal, I think that just do your own research and then make a decision based on kind of the five things that I mentioned earlier. Five,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Yeah. Thanks so much, Dami. Would again, if we have more time at the end of the um following updates, we'll be sure to open the floor again. But thank you so much. I would hand over to Joe to take us through what's left of today's presentation, and then we'll also open the floor to any questions that we might have for Dami or just for HoaQ in general as well. Over to you, Joe.
Dami, thank you so much for this presentation. I feel like it's been a long time coming to hear somebody outside of Hope talk about diligence, and I would like to really thank you for that. Um, Thank you. If you don't mind staying, hopefully people have more questions and we can share
So
with you at the end. So for folks who don't know me, my name is Joe Kindry, and if you're new to the community, welcome. If you found out about this event on socials and you're like, let me go check it out. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something from it. Um, we have a couple of announcements. Over the past 6 months or so, a lot has happened. And in this announcement, I'm going to talk about this point, team rebrand, city meetups, platform migration, and feedback. So next slide, please. The team has been growing. We started the year with a lot less people, but I'm starting the most recent to the least recent. Oluwapelumi joined us officially on Monday as a marketing and community lead, but she's been with us for the past 3 weeks onboarding. Yeah, she put all these presentations together alongside the team. So Pelumi, welcome to HoaQ. Zainab also joined us, I think about 2 months ago now, as an executive assistant, mostly supporting myself and Pelumi on all things in the back. Yao has been spending a lot of time building platform as our CTO, and yeah, I'll be sharing a little bit more about platform later on. Yawande joined us officially earlier this year as the HoaQ Fund Manager. She's the managing partner on the fund and leads all things HoaQ Fund, from fundraising to investing, etc. Amanda is our legal advisor all the things that we do, there's a lot of legal component to it. So Amanda gives us advice from legal perspective across the UK and everywhere else you operate. Next slide, please. We are doing a rebrand. I'm sure that you can see different colors, different greens. The HoaQ is written differently, and this is all part of the new rebrand. For the longest time, we've had our website, which is HoaQ.club, but HoaQ is getting bigger than the club. So we're moving to HoaQ.co, which will cover the club, of course, and also has more information around the fund. But over the next couple of weeks and months, we want to do a little bit more. One extra piece we want to add is HoaQ Academy, where these videos, for example, the recordings of these videos will be put up there so that people can rewatch, and all the content that we have will be able to make it available for the community to go back and watch. So, but HoaQ doesn't change. HoaQ is still the same. We're the same people, same group of people, still bringing you filtered deals on a regular basis and giving you an opportunity to invest across Africa and the diaspora. Next slide, please. Q3, which is starting on Saturday. Q3 at HoaQ, since we started in 2020, has always been around the community. We do a lot less deals throughout Q3, and instead what we do is we come and spend time with everybody in the community. So we have some dates, but we're working on a couple more dates. And this year we want to visit a lot more cities than we've ever done. I think last year we did about 6 or 7 cities. Hopefully this year we'll do more. But I think our biggest community is in Lagos and London across the US. So we'll be in Lagos in August. We'll be in Dar es Salaam for the first time later in the year. But we will be in Dubai, Accra, Paris, London, Abidjan, Cape Town, hopefully in the US, New York, SF, and hopefully other cities. Would you like us to visit you where you are? And if we can do it, there are HoaQ members in over 30 countries. And this is an opportunity to just organize your own meetup. We'll help you with all the tools. Yes, I look forward to coming back to Amsterdam. We'll help you with all the tools and stipend to organize your own meetup if there are enough people who can join. We don't do HoaQ alone because we have a community of you, and that means that we also don't do meetups alone. We do it with other groups. So if you know other communities, other angel networks that we should be collaborating with and coming together, please do let us know via Slack or via email, and we are, because we're very open to it. Next slide, please. Platform migration. I don't know where this comes from, but this is actually a real screenshot of what platform is going to look like. Platform is essentially the operating system, or will be the operating system for HoaQ Club. And what we're doing is we're essentially moving everything that we do from, onboarding. I'm sure a lot of you have gone through our rather painful onboarding, money movement, KYC. You'll be able to view deals. You won't be going to Notion anymore. What we're doing is we're moving all these things onto the platform that we're building, and Yao is leading this entire project. It's been a lot of work over the past 3 months or so. A lot of you on these calls have actually invested in platforms, so thank you all for your vote of confidence. We're hoping to start testing as early as next month, which starts on Saturday. And we will be inviting a couple of you to come and help us test it out, give us feedback. And again, moving to platform, what is platform, why platform? It'll just help us. Platform will really help us do more faster. And we can hopefully grow from the number of members that we have now to hopefully 10x, 20x that number. What happens next? Please keep an eye out for an email. We invite a handful of people just to come and test it out. And when we're happy with it, we will invite more people. What that also means is the dashboard that we had over the past year or so we will be bringing it back because we haven't updated it since the last year, and this isn't something that we're very comfortable with, but it's really important that we bring you something that's good. So if you've invested with us before, you will be able to use platform straight away. And what that means is whenever it's live, you can log in and view the deals that you've done with us to date. Next slide, please. And yeah, feedback time. We got this far because you gave us feedback. You told us what you like and what you don't like. And it's that time of the year again. We really need your feedback to make HoaQ better. We want to make HoaQ work for you. We want to make sure that we fix things that are not working for you. So in H2 next month, we will be sharing the feedback with the entire community. We really, really, really need your feedback to make HoaQ better. So please, when you get the form, do fill it. Give us your candid feedback. We know that this isn't perfect, and we can only improve things that are not working if you give us feedback. So thanks in advance for all your feedback. And one thing I love about the community is everybody's very honest with their feedback. So please send them our way. I think we've got tough skin at this stage because we wouldn't be this far if it wasn't because of feedback. So yeah, thank you for all this. I think this is everything I have to cover as part of this. Yeah, do follow us. Please go on LinkedIn, Twitter, IG. On LinkedIn, you can even just if you've invested with us before, put that on your profile. Let people know that you're a HoaQ member. Follow our page on Twitter, follow us, because the more people follow us, the more people find out about the club, and we get bigger. And what that means is we can do more deals and everybody can invest in more startups. So thank you in advance for following us. If you are already following us, and if you are not following us, please do so. And that's all from me. Pelumi, you can take down the slide and let's go straight into the Q&A. I'll answer the first question, which is the Lagos meetup in August? And the answer is yes. We even have a date. It's August 19th, and I will be there. I think I'm more excited than everybody else because I haven't been to Lagos in such a long time, and I really, really miss Lagos, and I cannot wait to meet many of you. All the new, we did a hangout back in November 21, and I was there. Newbie held the 22 one. But I haven't been to Lagos in a while, and I cannot wait. All right, I'll stop talking. Newbie has raised his hand. Over to you, Newbie.
Yeah, also I just want to plug an event by one of our venture partners, Peace Itimi. She'll be having an event in Lagos as well, the Founders Connect. And HoaQ will also have a booth at the event. So come meet with the team if you're out in Lagos on July 8th. Tickets are sold out right now. So yeah, but if just in case you have a ticket, you're attending, come meet with the team on July 8th as well. But as Joe mentioned, we'll have the official Lagos meetup August 9th in Lagos.
19th.
August 19th, yeah. August 19th in Lagos. Awesome. So we just opened the floor. We have about 7 minutes to go. But yeah, any questions regarding HoaQ content that we've mentioned today? Any question regarding what Dami Thompson has shared with us around diligence as well? We're happy to take them. You can raise up your hand. You can write up in the chat, and we can take those now, or even comments. So it doesn't have to be a question. My wife is always teased that we Africans love questributions. So these are questions in form of contributions. So if you have any of those as well, we're more than happy to take those at this time.
Maybe you can tell us where you're dialing in from. I didn't really want to say it. But...
yeah. So I recently moved to Dubai, so I'm now in Dubai, which is why we're going to be having the second Dubai meetup. I think Dozier, who was on the call earlier, I don't know if he's still on the call, helped host the first one in Dubai. So I'll be here to support him to host our second Q3 meetup in Dubai. So yeah, looking forward to meeting any other person out here, in the city. There's a question for you, Joe. When did you start your journey as a club?
So we started in officially in March 2020, and what that means is, we Newbie and I started talking about HoaQ. Actually, Newbie started talking about HoaQ in December or late 2019, and I'm like, this name, I hate it, but it's very simple, it's easy, it works, I can say it fine. But yeah, I think we officially started in March, and we did our first investment in June 2020, and it's been nonstop from there. And I think somebody made a comment that I think Newbie and Joe speak more than Newbie and his wife and their relative partners, which is not true, if that means anything.
Say no more. Say no more.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, it's been a journey. Yeah. So earlier this year was 3 years, and so yeah, looking forward to many more years to come. And yes, we'll be back in Dublin. Toby Lover. Dublin is always going to be home. That's where it all started from. So homecoming one of these years. Um, I did a community round on alt school with you guys. How do I track performance? Don't think I was onboarded on the new platform. Yeah, Joe, you want to take that?
Yes. Well, Dio, welcome. Thank you for your investment in Alt School. I think we've invested. This is the third time we've invested in the Alt School group. We will make the dashboard available hopefully as early as July, meaning that you'll be able to view your investments. We haven't updated this year, but it will be updated hopefully next month as part of the platform rollout. So you will see this. But before then, I hope you have received an investment document for your investment. If you haven't, do let us know, and we will make sure to send you one. Every investment that's done, we issue investment document for you to sign and keep that as a record of your investment. But yes, you will be able to view your investment hopefully next month.
All right. How do I start my journey investing with HoaQ? Do I have to apply? Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can take that. So yeah, welcome,
Okay.
Sarah. Good to have you join. So yes, between now and the migration, yes, you can apply. So if you go to HoaQ.club, there's an apply button that you can actually walk through, and it helps you, like, you can just walk through the process of actually joining. And what that means is that you get invited to um, the Slack group. You get to see the deals that we will open, or that are still open for Q2, or any new deals that come in Q3. So again, just go to hope.club / apply, and then you can actually just fill that. And then once we post migration, you'll be able to like access the new platform. I think yours is raising the over. Maybe your wants to spare you the trouble of going through the old process. I want to get into the new one. So let's hear from you. Hi, yo.
Yeah, exactly that, exactly that. I, I, if you, I don't know. Yes, you can go and apply now, and it takes you to the old system. But we're planning a cutoff for the old system and new members on board directly onto the new system. Because as it stands, we are still planning the migration, and it's a sophisticated process because there's money involved and there's investments involved, and so the less we have to deal with, the better. So even though you can go and apply now, I don't say I beg you in the name of God, but if you can hold off a little bit when the new system is up and running, so you can sign up. I personally will extend an invitation to you if you decide to
Okay,
do
so
so.
I guess the short answer there, Sarah, is that to save tears and blood from your of you going back to the old system, if you can just like be patient for a few more days or weeks, it will personally like send an invitation to the new platform, and so you could actually do your onboarding on the new platform. So I guess that's the short of it. But yeah, if you're in a hurry and you can't wait for then yes, the link that Balimia shared in Slack, in the chat applies. But again, please give your let's give you a break, and yeah, let's go with the let's go with the new system with SAP.
Okay, I think that brings us to time, exactly an hour. Thank you all for
Thank you.
joining. Dami, thank you so much for making the time. I learned a lot, and I hope everybody else did too.
Yeah.
If you're, yeah, if you're a member of HoaQ, you can find us in the Slack. I post Monday weekly updates. Not so frequent, but I've been quite consistent, and there's a lot that goes in there. So yeah, do check it out. And yeah, anything we have office hours Slack channel for questions. Um,
Yeah, the next event is last Thursday of next month. So we're gonna keep this consistent. Every last Thursday of every month. So the last Thursday of July, we'll be out here again. But you can always like join the mailing list as well to get notified. Call. Dami, I want to just ask like that. How can people reach out to you if you want to like learn more about Diligence Africa, learn more about your services?
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps even like set up
Um,
one-on-one coaching sessions with you to be better like diligent. Yeah.
my email. I'm just gonna put my email here. Yeah.
Okay.
um,
So
Yeah.
Dami at diligenceafrica.co. Okay, awesome. So feel free to reach out to Dami if you have any more questions you want to engage further. Kikelomo, I think you just a quick email at hello at hope.club and we'll be able to support you and how to get you onto Slack. Awesome. Thanks everyone. Thanks Joe. Thanks Dami. Thanks everyone for attending as well. And enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening,
Thanks,
morning.
guys. Everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
so folks,
Hi,
who's
Joe.
recording? You can take down the recording. You can stop recording. Oh, I can manage recording.